This is Nerdarchy Snubs with Nerdarchy.com here with Asa Kinney and
Gabriel Gonda
of Zombie Orpheus Entertainment. We're actually here at ZOECon in
Bellevue.
Bellevue, yeah.
That's the one.
I was about to say Seattle, but not all of Washington's Seattle. I should know
Almost
that.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything in the King County area is Seattle.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
But yeah, we're in Bellevue, Washington. It's been a wild ride this weekend here, but we've managed to pin down this interesting interview. So, Asa, you want to start us off?
yeah. So you came in with Dark Dungeon.
Yes. The story of me joining ZOE and contributing as director with an annoying phone. I started with Dark Dungeons. I come from the film world. I've been doing indie film for about 8 years now. So I was just doing, little indie shorts, artistic stuff, whatever. And here in Seattle, there is a film industry, but it's not huge. It's not LA, it's not Vancouver, it's not even Portland. And I was getting frustrated, like trying to grow as a director, but only making like one short a year. If you get better at your craft by practicing it, that's really not enough.
Yeah.
And there aren't really a lot of mentors here. There's a couple directors who do, big premium cable shows and films and stuff, but they don't have the time of day for me, So I was kind of casting about, trying to figure out who I can learn from. And one day on the local Facebook film professional group, I saw Ben Dobbins posted saying, "We have a couple experimental projects coming up. Is there anyone who's interested in helping out?" And I knew of him. I knew of Zombie Orpheus, and I was a fan of Journey Quest. I thought it was really well written, way better than other stuff that's being made locally. And so I said, hell yeah, maybe I can get involved somehow. So I messaged him, I emailed him my reel saying, I'd love to job shadow or just see how you work, see what I can learn. And I didn't hear back for 2 weeks, and I figured it was just another lead that didn't pan out. Then he writes back a real short email saying, we're ready to discuss you directing Dark Dungeons. Give me a call. And I was surprised, saying I wasn't really expecting a job offer for directing, and also, what the hell is Dark Dungeons? So I went and I Googled it, and I found the Jack Chick's website, and I was like, oh man, I have seen these before. I know what this is, and I know these guys are gamers. So what are they doing? What's going on here? And then I realized, aha, I know what they're doing. So I went and I met with him. And it was basically a job interview. He said, how would you approach this? If you were to direct this project, we have the film rights, what would you do? And I said, well, we have to do it 100% sincerely and faithfully to the original text. There can be no winking or spoof or, trying to work in goofy jokes or whatever. We just have to make it exactly the way someone who is aligned with Jack Chick's worldview would do it. And he said, right answer. There's a catch, though. We're also going to shoot a mockumentary on top of that, so would you be willing to play a director shooting an anti-RPG film in a mockumentary while you're directing an anti-RPG film? And I said, yeah, I can do that.
You essentially have to play your own devil's advocate.
Yes.
In a comedic fashion.
Sure. And, well, there was a lot of freedom with Attacking the Darkness to sort of embrace the more twisted side of my job, just to play like a dark version of myself. And like yell at people.
Yeah.
You know, there's that myth of the asshole director who he must be a genius because he's such an asshole.
Right.
Thank you, Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen Attacking the Darkness, he's not a uber religious character coming in making this film. He's actually just a normal director.
Right. I was just like hired by the producers, so so I got to just like vent some of the the inner
Has
director
that
demons.
Very relatable everyman feature there.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that. We did Dark Dungeons. Turned out all right. And then I got asked to join the Strowler story team. I was asked to co-direct Strowlers, and then Gamers the series, and I just keep getting asked back because I haven't messed it up too bad yet.
Well, good.
Generally how jobs work.
Yeah.
But how is that? How is it taking on directing Strowlers?
That was cool. Well, I mean, Strowlers is far more in line with like what I was doing previously, like a serious drama type stuff with, tackling heavy issues. And I absolutely love doing, the satire, it's not satire, of Dark Dungeons, and then Gamers because, I like joking around.
Right.
But
Strowlers is kind of a new thing. Could you give our viewers like a 1-minute elevator speech on what it is?
Totally. So Strowlers is the story we're telling is an alternate version of our reality where magic is real and it's heavily regulated by the government and by corporate interests. And so if you have talent, you have to register because it's considered dangerous, or you are an outlaw, and that's what we call the Strowlers, people who believe that magic should be free and belong to everyone and not just be a resource that's exploited by the powers that be. So that's the story. That's the overarching story of the shared world that we want to do. What we really want is for everyone to tell their stories in this world. It's like, if your fan fiction of a franchise that you love could become canon, we want to give that to anyone who wants to participate.
Similar to what you're doing with Demon Hunters.
Right. Actually, Strowlers was first.
Oh.
This was Ben's idea.
Okay.
And then Don Early, who's sort of the the showrunner for Demon Hunters, he's like, that's a great idea. We want to do that too. But and they actually got organized a lot faster and got it out of the gate. So yeah. So that's 2 worlds you can play in. Come join us.
And do you know if Zombie Orpheus is planning, or Dead Gentlemen are planning to continue that model with other bits of interest?
Like what else have we got?
Well, the gamers.
There's the
Gamers.
Gamers. The Gamers probably not.
Yeah.
Because coming from Matt Vancel, I believe, has a very specific vision of how he wants it all to tie together and wrap up, and so there's not a lot of wiggle room for other people to mess it up.
Right.
Did you notice the slight similarities between Marvel's Civil War and the way you have Strowlers set up there?
Right. So the 2 competing ideas for how powerful people should be, reined in or not. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and it's not a unique idea. This is probably one of the central divisions of society, of how people relate to each other, and how we decide to govern ourselves or not. And in the Strowlers world, we do play with that ambiguity that both sides are right. Like the governmental control side, their position is that unregulated people who can blow up cities are in fact dangerous, and they're not wrong about that. Are they perhaps willing to be harsh and authoritarian in order to ensure safety? Yes. And yet from the other side, from the Strowlers' point of view, that, authoritative overreach is oppressive and tends to hurt the weakest among us and the most vulnerable. And so they are also correct. And so those are the 2 perspectives that we play with, and our 2 main characters represent those 2 factions.
Which runs very parallel to what's happening in modern America now in
the
weapon debate.
And Absolutely, and all kinds of things like immigration, and it's pretty deep down at the base of a lot of
Right.
issues.
So many people from all sorts of walks of life can find something, some
Right,
allegory
right.
within Strowlers.
Right, and something that Ben said yesterday, or 2 days ago at the premiere, was that when we started working on this, we didn't realize, how much more relevant it was going to become.
Oh, yeah.
So, because we've been working on this for years, and like we saw where things were kind of headed, and now it seems like it's more relevant than ever.
So when can we expect to see Strowlers like on screen?
I believe the big launch is planned for September. What we've been doing here at ZOECon is showing, the fans, the current fans, what we've done so far, and we did a panel yesterday about how to tell your story, and so we're working on that. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening behind the scenes. There needs to be a platform so that people can get information and also share what they've created. So we're building all of that. We're building a wiki. There's the ZOE website video platform that's been being worked on behind the scenes all this time. So what we're doing now going forward is just continuing to get ready.
Right.
Yeah. And then there will be a big launch, and hopefully,
You mentioned
people like it. Yeah.
You mentioned a big launch. Is there going to be much effort to reach out to media such as Nerdarchy, GameSpot, or similar?
Yes,
things?
yes. As far as I'm aware, yes. There is a big master plan that I haven't been shown yet, but they promised me I will get to see it, and hopefully I'll be able to help do that and reach out to media, reach out to all the tastemakers, and do a big push so we rise above the noise floor.
What's one of the biggest challenges of creating this open universe that everyone's allowed to come play in?
Ben could probably answer that question better than me, but I'll take a stab at it.
All right.
The biggest challenges, I think, are making it work in a cohesive way, so that we're all on the same page, while at the same time not spoiling too much, because we have a plan for like several seasons worth of show, and so there's information that gets revealed at key points, and I think for me trying to share some of that without spoiling too much so that people can be on the same page for what's happening. Plus, there's always the opportunity to do like things that take place in the past events.
Oh,
It
yeah.
kind of reminds me of the way the seasonal story was described for that card game that was in Hands of Fate.
Yeah, where the fans can influence what happens. It's not so much that we're leaving decisions up to the fan base. It's more like what can we share at what point in time? Because there is a big plan, a big arc that we go on.
And there's already been two stories taking place in different parts of the world in different periods of time.
That's right. I didn't help out with those in any practical way. Just sort of shared my opinions sometimes, but they've actually gone to Ireland and Mongolia and told two separate spin-off stories that take place in the Strowlers universe, just as a proof of concept that this is how you can do it for cheaply. Tell a really local story, and so those will be coming too, and they tie into the main events with the other characters as well.
All right.
Yeah.
I think I've only got one more question left, and then I don't know if you have anything else, but what advice would you give to anyone who is looking to build their own Strowler story?
I would say find us, find the info. There's a wiki. Learn as much as you can about it. Get in touch. We have built a channel. We have a Discord server that has a channel now dedicated to this. So I think the Facebook page for Zombie Orpheus has a link to it. So come. We try to make ourselves available. Come ask questions. Let us know what you have in mind, and we'll share our thoughts on how to do it. And then I don't know, just pick something that you want to do. Make a movie, make a poem, make a song, write a short story. It's open to all media, all genres. Tell a ghost story, comedy. There's all kinds of things. Pirates.
ZOE doesn't
Pirates would be
comedy
good.
at all. Everything's better.
We try. Yeah.
There you go. The pirate scholar story.
Yeah. So, is there any plans for a Strahler's role-playing game, tabletop?
There better be, because people keep asking for it.
I've been asked several times. They're like, "Wait, you're press. Do you know any of this?"
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I think you could take the concepts and take your favorite system and just do a homebrew, right?
If I'm not mistaken, Strahler's was based off of a pre-existing, loosely based. On
Right.
pre-existing
It wouldn't be too hard to reverse engineer that,
Yeah.
just take it back to, and the original story that kind of started it all off was developed through playtesting, basically. So, yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. There might be an official one at some point, but that's another thing, To get back to the point of it's an open world where everyone can contribute, make your own game, Share it with us. We'd love to see it.
That'd be awesome. We'd
Yeah.
love to see board games and stuff set in the
Right.
Strahler's
Yeah.
universe. That'd be fun.
There is a card game that is a part of the story.
Mhm.
We're still working on, developing that as well. But if you wanted to do your own, we can't stop you. We're asking you to do it. So yeah.
Now, maybe slight spoilers for the Strahler's pilot, but is that where the cards from the pilot come into play? Is it like
Absolutely,
a-
that's exactly what you saw.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see some of that.
yeah,
Well, Gabriel, thank you for your time.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think
No
we're good.
problem.
Right.
Pleasure
And,
talking with you.
Any chance we can get you join us in our sign-off? Pretty much every Nerdarchy video ends with us saying, "Stay nerdy." So,
Yeah.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
stay nerdy.